Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. And as you see in a moment, I will have a very distinguished, very special guest, Dr. Baruch, who is a naturopathic educator. All right, we're going to find out what that's about, what he's about. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody very, very much. Let's see something here. Okay. Before we get started, happy Wednesday, everybody. Here it is midway of the month. By the way, this Sunday for you ladies is Father's Day. Okay. So we can get that straight. I might even ask my guest what may be coming up special in the terms of what he does for Father's Day. But in the meantime, though, I want to let you know that today's show is being sponsored by Miss Kimberly on Purpose. This past Wednesday, she had a very interesting story to weave about forest for the trees. And then today was equally fascinating. So please go to her website, misskimberly.com, to see this. Also, another sponsor is Nicholas Brooklyn. It's interesting. Monique is the owner of the Brooklyn division of Nicholas Brooklyn. And we're going to have her on sometime in the summer. So that's going to be fun. Also, Visit Islam's supplements. I don't think he's a doctor, but he might as well be. But Izzer Islam is great. If you order his products, just say numbers in the code, and you will definitely get a 10% discount. But you got to mention the name numbers as a code. And to my brother King Simon, who is going to be having a special event coming up in October 12th and 13th. You might say, well, it's months away, but the tickets go on sale in a matter of a couple of weeks on July 1st. And finally, the Kardali workshop by Nina Diamond and Jazz Aphrodite is going to be this Father's Day weekend of Saturday the 15th and Sunday the 16th. And before we bring Dr. Baruch on, I want to let you know that please like, share, and subscribe to the show or whatever. Today is Wednesday. It is the 12th. The sun is in Gemini. The moon is in Virgo. It's a 5 universal month, a 7 universal week, and 8 universal day. I think one day I'm going to explain how I'm arriving at all this. And Capricorn, Aquarius, and Libra, which is my guest zodiac sign. And those born on the 8th, 17th, and 26th of the month. Well, this should be a very interesting day. So without further ado, I want to bring on my guest. How you doing, Dr. Baruch?
Very well, my brother. Doing very well. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, it is good to see you. There's an event. I'm going to be at your establishment this weekend. We'll talk about that. But first of all, you are a naturopathic educator. For those that may not understand, what does that mean?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of go in the reverse direction. It doesn't mean I'm funded or liked or supported by the USDA, the AMA, the FDA, or any of the other aids that are funded by the pharmaceutical drug industry. So that's a key. And the space that I'm in is to empower you on how you can take charge of your health using nutrition and supplements in order to achieve your goal to increase your quality of life, to increase your length of life, and to just give you an overall your well-being, just improve your overall well-being. So that's what we do as naturopathic educators, that we give you the power to take control over your own health, taking that power back from the institutions that profit off of making us sick. So we're wanting to get that power back, because it doesn't make any sense. We give our medical doctors more leeway than we give our auto mechanic. Let our auto mechanic do something wrong and we're not going back to him ever again. And we want a refund. We want our money back. And you want to write up and call 7 on your side to get him in trouble.
Yeah.
But let your medical doctor do something wrong and you just drop your head and say, well, I know you did the best you could do. No, it's unacceptable. You're hiring him to work for you, and many of us don't know that. You're hiring him to work. When you come to me, you're hiring me to work for you, to give you the very best that I know in order to help you through your situation. So that's what I do. I educate and empower you. You should only need to see me 1 or 2 times. After that, I should have given you enough information that you know how to go about the rest of your life, improving your quality of life and extending the length of your life.
So all they got to do is just follow your instructions. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. Basic instructions. These are things that what I teach people is information that they should be taught in elementary school. And if they were taught this in elementary school, they wouldn't run into the many problems that we find ourselves running into now. It used to be in our 50s and 60s. Now it's in our late 20s and 30s.
They even talk about the rates of cancer is now affecting the very young. That's like unheard of until one was in their 50s, 60s, 70s, like that.
Right.
So evidently there's things that are not with the nutrition nowadays. Is that what you're saying? Is that why part of the reason you think?
Well, brother Lloyd, what we have to conclude when we look up and we see that we're number 1 in all the negative health categories, everything that could be bad for you, we rank number 1 in across the board. And this is the most industrialized, or one of the most industrialized countries in the world. And we rank at the bottom of all the industrialized countries. And we, as African Americans, rank at the bottom of this industrialized country. And at some point, we got to look up and realize that, well, wait a minute, wait. How is it that we're so sick? You know, what is it that we did that made us, we're eating the food, we see other people in the line at the places that we eat at. And there's some key pieces in this that I think we're missing. And one of them is nobody wakes up every day of their life wondering what other people are doing to prevent them from being successful, to prevent them from even being alive. You know, nobody wakes up like that except us. We wake up knowing that there are people working to keep us completely suppressed, if not eliminated. And that pressure, that stress in and of itself can cause one to be sick. Now you tie that in with the poor diet choices that we're making, because that's what's being made available to us. You know, the poor food, the bad for you food is being made available to us through the Crack Donalds and Murder King and Taco Hell and Wind Disease and Chokers and Bow Strangles and the International Host of Pulmonary Heart Disease and Slop Eyes and Sick Filet. Those are heavily populated in our community.
You're right about that, buddy.
And they're doing, and when you look at the work that they're doing, you can't admit that you have to admit that this is warfare, Brother Carl. I mean, Brother Lloyd. I think I called you Carl the last time.
If so, it went right past me, but I understand. Go right ahead.
That's Brother Carl Nelson. You all remind me of one another. But so it's something that we have to take very seriously, and that is that food is being used as a weapon against us, and we're suffering. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better.
You know, that's interesting because Brother Rizza Islam, when I had him on my show, talking about food is being weaponized. You would think food is designed to nourish you. Even Elijah Muhammad in his book, How to Eat to Live, meant just that. Now, how to eat to die. And they're finding that young people in their 20s and 30s are having cancers. And the article has said that the doctors are in a mystery as to why. To me, it's no mystery.
Right.
In fact, you know what's interesting? They had a thing not too long ago that the FDA was about to release the dramatic ill effects of ultra processed food, not just processed food, but now it's ultra. They're taking it to the next level. And did you know the food lobby was fighting the FDA because it feared of cutting into their profit?
That's right.
It is. So I just think it's interesting to me. Well, maybe it's too logical for me, but the longer your consumers live, the more consumers will eat for generations and generations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, okay, I'm going to. And then what is bioengineered ingredients? I see a lot of packaging now. I didn't see that about 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's because they're now growing meat in laboratories. And they're growing everything in laboratories if they can help it, so that they can now remove all the natural elements or the natural processes and now do this under unnatural conditions, which is going to create an unnatural outcome, which when we consume it will create an unnatural condition inside of our body. So it's not that I suggest that we should be eating dead flesh, whether it's bioengineered or whether it's straight off the cow. I'm not suggesting that we do that. But what I'm saying is the fact that they have decided to commit so much energy to bioengineering food, and nobody was falling short on making food. It's not like bioengineering food is going to now feed the poor or feed the people who haven't been getting food, those starving and famished. They're not getting food to them. No, there's something else going on. And this takes me back to the whole reason why I opened up a plant-based restaurant, which is, and I listened to a woman practice her speech at a food conference. She said, if you control a man's food, you control him. And the minute she said him, I said, oh, wow, I've got to get into the food business. I had no plans on being in the food business. But back in 1995, when she said that, I said, oh, my plans have just changed. Because we can't allow somebody who does not like us, who's demonstrated that they want us removed off of the planet, we cannot allow them to control our food, especially if they have ill intent. And we could see the ill intent. We look up now, we're the most overweight. We have high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer like nobody else. And I'll stop there and just say that all of those conditions are lifestyle illnesses. And the amazing thing within my, I'll call it ministry, that within what it is that I'm doing, we are eradicating every single one of them. And when you really look deeper into it, you realize that when you go to a traditional medical doctor, he's medicating a person's diet. He's not medicating the body. The body does not have a deficiency of metformin. That's not why you're taking metformin, because you all of a sudden at 50 years of age, 30 years of age, you have a deficiency of metformin. No, you have a preoccupation with eating that which isn't good for you, and the drugs prevent the kind of damage that would typically happen, if you were able to do it without the drugs being there. So you would find,
what is metformin? Is that
metformin is normally a drug that is consumed by somebody who has diabetes.
Okay.
Yeah, and believe it or not, the first side effect, when you look at the negative side effects for the different drugs out there, if you look up on drugs.com, I believe that's where it is, I saw it, that metformin, which is a drug taken for a diabetic, is the first side effect listed is death.
What?
That's ridiculous. Yep, the first, not the last, the first side effect is death.
It's interesting. My sister used to be a nurse, and she would have this physician's desk reference book.
Yep.
And I used to enjoy reading what all the medical prescriptions are. But what amazed me is that the negatives was just about as twice as long as the positives.
Yep.
And if it's about death, why take it? Seemed like there should be an alternative to that. That's amazing.
And that's what I'm here for. That's what we created. We created an alternative restaurant, and now we've created an alternative space where somebody can come to get a protocol for healing. And like I said, we're taking out, and these, I say this, and I know this is heavy for some of us, but diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, arthritis, cancer, are being removed from the body such that there's no evidence of the disease found in the body using NIH-approved protocols. Again, I repeat, NIH-approved protocols. So the NIH knows that there are natural ways.
Institute of Health, right?
National Institute of Health knows that there are natural ways that we can overcome these conditions, but they're pushing the drug. They're pushing the drug. So we have nestled ourselves into a space where we are that alternative to the bad for you food. We've got the healthy food. The bad for you not supplements, but drugs that are causing a myriad of side effects inside of the body. Now we're giving you supplements that when somebody comes to me and they've got a cancer diagnosis, well, what I give them to take, I can take. It doesn't negatively affect me. However, if I took what they took that was given to them by their medical doctor, it would harm me. And that shouldn't be the case, because that means the best that a person can expect to get is sick. They're never going to get beyond 6 because the chemicals that they're taking, I can't take and maintain my wellness. It's going to make me sick. And that's a problem, I think.
I think that's very interesting. So it seems like diet and nutrition, especially if you say a lot of these concerns are lifestyle. When you say
Yeah.
lifestyle, what do you mean by lifestyle? What, eating out all the time or eating a
Sure.
bunch of candy? What do you mean?
Well, the standard American diet is a pretty awful diet in and of itself. But the standard Black American diet is more sugar, more salt, more fat, and more artificial ingredients. It is awful to think that we're putting that into our bodies when we should be fueling our bodies with the highest quality food and nutrition and fuel that is possible, that is out there for us. And some of us don't have access to it because we don't either have the money or they're just not local to us. But for those of us who have the money and have access, we should be eating from the top of the food chain and not the bottom. And for those who don't have access to it, you should be eating as best you can, because it's just going to prepare you for eating better as you continue to elevate your finances, your condition, your situation. You'll find that you can eat these higher level foods and get better results inside of the body. It's no different than putting a simple liquid into the gas tank of your vehicle rather than putting gas or fuel. If you put water in your gas tank, sure, the gas tank will get full, no different than if you go to McDonald's and get enough crappy meals, you're going to fill up your stomach, but it's not going to be any fuel in there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
In other words, it ain't going to be the right fuel to fuel that car that needs to be fueled properly.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And we're waking people up. So we're educating them so that they get a better understanding of their role in this. It is not for you to pick up the phone every time something goes wrong inside of your body, pick up your phone and give somebody a check so that they can give you some drugs. No, you need to know that, okay, the reason why my blood pressure or my blood sugar is up is because we just came through Thanksgiving and I ate like a horse. Well, you're supposed to have high blood pressure. Okay, so now next year, let's not do that. Or maybe in the middle of Thanksgiving, you realize, or even before Thanksgiving, you realize, okay, this is something I'm not going to do because I know what the end result of it is. But we're making a decision, and the decision is I want to please my tongue. And if I can please my tongue, then everything else they'll just have to suffer. But the organs
do suffer, though. That's the sad part about it.
Yep. Yep. But the reason why we're making that decision over and over and over again, day after day after day, meal after meal after meal, where we're eating that which has zero nutrition, and it's full of artificial ingredients and sugars and salts and fats that are not good for us. The reason why we're making that decision is because of the number one health condition in the United States of America affecting Black people is low self-worth. Because when you feel better about yourself, you make better choices on behalf of yourself.
That's interesting. In other words, you're saying that low self-esteem has a direct relationship to the way we feed ourselves.
That's right. It has a direct relationship to who we hang out with, what music we listen to, what social media pages we go out in search of, all of that, what television programs, all of that is tied to how I feel about myself. You make a decision. I make a decision to eat food that I know has zero nutrition, but it tastes great and it's inexpensive and it's what I'm accustomed to doing. And I see everybody else in my neighborhood is doing it, so it must be okay. And you go out and you do that, and then you get the results of it. And then we scratch our heads and try to figure out how it happens. And the medical doctor has the perfect answer, which lets you off the hook. The medical doctor says, well, it looks like you're predisposed. It looks like you're genetically predisposed to this illness. So this has nothing to do with anything that you did. You were going to get it anyhow, which is absurd.
So that person don't feel guilty about their habits.
That's right. So they can keep eating. And that's what the medical doctors tell us. keep eating what you're eating. Don't worry about it. Live your life. Enjoy your life. Just take metformin.
You know,
No.
it's interesting. When I was a youngster, my uncle had come to visit my parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Uncle Dewey, he wasn't supposed to be eating something. And I made a reference. I said, Uncle Dewey, you're not supposed to be eating that. And he says, well, if I don't eat that, the medicine don't have anything to do. And I just thought that
Woo!
was interesting. I just thought that was very, very interesting. But that was his mindset, that if he didn't eat that, the medicine wouldn't have anything to do. I never forgot that. And I was a kid.
Yep. He understood it. That is the understanding that you should have. And we know it's the understanding because when I take a client and put them on a 3-day fast, at the end of the third day, or even at the end of the second day, they're saying, well, all my numbers are good. Well, that's because you haven't eaten any of the crap that made your numbers go off the scale. So maybe I don't need to take the medication. Yeah, maybe you don't. But if you're going to go back to eating the way you were eating before, then you probably need to keep that medication close.
Well, I was always told too, at least in the Black community, that once you have high blood pressure, you must always take that medication. It's almost as if there are no alternatives. Is that
That,
what the medical field is saying?
that's what they're saying, but that's not valid. That is not valid, and that is not true, and that's not what you have to be subjected to for the rest of your life. No, absolutely. As a matter of fact, some of the side effects of some of the drugs that we're taking for some of these chronic illnesses are causing the kidney failure. So now the drug that we're taking to address the high blood pressure has now destroyed my kidneys, and now I'm on dialysis 3 times a week, and that's like slavery. We're on dialysis 3. You got to quit your job, you got to quit your life, you can't travel anywhere, you can't
Yeah.
do anything because you got to make your appointment in 2 days.
Yeah, I have a friend that's on dialysis and they can't do anything. They
That's right.
can't do things that you and I would take like, let's go away for a couple of days, or you know what I'm saying? They can't do any of that. Everything is based around the hospital, and I think they got to sit there for hours, and
Yeah. And
that's
they sit in these rooms full of Black people, and nobody looks up and says anything about, wait a minute, y'all, something ain't right. All of us in here are Black. All of us in here are in our mid 30s to mid 50s. Something is not right. And that thing that is not right is we didn't know that the high blood pressure medication was causing renal failure. Because we don't read the side effects. You believe if the
never do.
medical we believe that if the medical doctor says it's good for us, it's good for us because we trust them and we empower them to make decisions for us on behalf of our health, not taking into consideration they don't make money off of you if you're well. They make money off of you if you're sick. And that's not the kind of relationship you want. You want a medical system that's built around success, not just services and products provided. No, they have to be successful. It should be a merit-based system, not just I spent this many hours and I gave you this many drugs. This is what you owe me. It doesn't work that way.
You know, I have a friend that I had on the show, Dr. Donald Thomas, out of Hawaii, and he was a nutritional specialist there in Hawaii for like about 20 years or so. And he explained that the average person take no more than less than 5 to 6 medications a day.
Mm, mm.
And I
Yeah,
just thought that was like, that's and then when you realize the toxic effect that each of them bring potentially, and you combine them. In fact, there was one person years ago that I knew that had suffered with toxic overdose from the medication they were taking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're not trying
absolutely.
to knock no institutions. Let's be clear. We're just saying that there are other alternatives that are more natural and organic.
Yes. And everything that we do, you can look up in the NIH research documents and see that they've already said that this is a working protocol and should be used. But the medical doctors know that they don't want to make use of these different protocols because they don't make money off of it. So if your medical doctor sent you home and said, you need to drink some dandelion tea so that you can reduce the water on your blood and
Or
help
burdock to clean the blood or something.
right. And if they tell you that, all of a sudden they don't make that money off of their high blood pressure medication, their hydrochlorothiazide, then they run themselves out of business. But I'm going to tell you something that's happening though, because so many people now have begun to distrust the medical establishment, distrust the FDA, distrust the CDC. They're distrusting them. They're leaning more to the internet. They're doing their own research. They're seeing that there are other ways for them to achieve their health and wellness, as opposed to taking on this drug burden. And so the medical establishment is beginning to feel the brunt of this. I can know just what you know because I could go out and ask, some AI service and they'll tell me more than what you know because they're going to tell me current information. You left medical school 30 years ago. You don't know much more than what you were taught back then. But now, you've got these AI services will tell you the current information on how you can overcome high blood pressure naturally.
Organically.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about your restaurant. I mean, you said when you heard that lady said those who controls the food controls the person. Tell us about your restaurant, E-Life Restaurant. There in
E-Life Restaurant was established 29 years ago to provide a viable food source to communities disserved and underserved. So that was the foundation of what it is that we were created to do. Our goal was to get to a point where we would make food free. I was ambitious. I said, I can make healthy food free. There's a way for us to do this. And I haven't lost that vision, but the rent and the insurance and the taxes
you have no
and
choice.
payroll, I wasn't going to keep up with it if I was making food free. Yeah. But there's a way. I still know that there's a way to do it. And we're working on that yet and still. So we've been here in the community here in the DC metropolitan area, providing that viable food source where we're showing people that you can experience the same taste, the same texture, and the same look without sacrificing your health and without having to slaughter an animal, because an animal doesn't necessarily have to die for you to nourish yourself. And I've been eating this way for over 45 years. I'm a testimony. You don't have to kill an animal in order to be healthy or to live.
In fact, this is a picture of your space because I was there back in March. I'm going to be there this weekend, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But this is a beautiful, beautiful venue, man. I mean, it is spacious, but over and above that, the food is just out of this world. Because I remember you made me something that I took back, and it was like, whatever it was, but it just goes to show you there is alternatives. And it's interesting, you said 29 years because you're born on the 29th day of the month.
Yes.
So I just think that's very interesting. You know me, I'll be looking at numbers all kind of ways.
Yes, sir.
But I think that this is a very important. And I think, because when I was there the last time, I know that Sunday you had offered everybody free pancakes, and they were absolutely delicious. Okay. Yes. And I had nerve to say, well, listen, on Father's Day, you're going to have some pancakes. Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll have them. We will have them. And that's again what we're here to do. We want to attract as many people as we can. And I think, Brother Lloyd, you should know why I felt compelled to track down your number, because I had to do some work to get through to you.
Yeah.
I got you. And the reason why is because my community is in need of your intelligence. It isn't because I think you're, it isn't because I think you're going to fill up the room with people and we're going to make a bunch of money. No, it's because I know that you have an answer to some of the most significant problems that we have, whether it be why I just can't be successful, why I can't feel better about life, why I can't have better relationships, why I'm not doing a better job of raising my children. The list goes on. You have information that can help us guide ourselves through this maze of landmines that are destroying so many people. So this accompanies the good food. We bring in good people and good people to share with us their wisdom so that we can make better choices and not find ourselves in this noose or destroying our lives.
Awesome speakers. You definitely, I think, Professor Small was there. Uh,
Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
All of those people. And for those of you, this is where I will be this Father's Day weekend, right here at Eli Cafe. Was it 9033? Is it?
9033
Yeah. What's the name of the full street? Is 9033
Central Avenue. I'm
Central
sorry.
Avenue in
Capitol Heights, Maryland.
Capitol Heights, Maryland. I'll be there from about 1 to 4
Yep.
this Saturday, and then I'll be back on Father's Day on Sunday, just briefly to meet with a couple of people for sessions if they would like to. And and you know what's interesting, because back when you had me back on March the 9th, a couple of months ago, it rained like cats and dogs, and yet it was like packed house. It was just very, very interesting.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
do when you are when you do your foods and whatnot, does, because I remember when I was there, a lot of people came in the first thing Sunday morning. As soon as you picked me up, brought me back to the restaurant, people were coming in there early to buy all kinds of stuff. And one guy even had me call his wife on the phone that morning right there.
Yep.
And it's just amazing that you can really, really take care of yourself without having to be put on medications.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure medication has its purposes to a degree,
Yes.
but there are also other alternatives. Because, for example, in the South and in the Caribbean, very rarely did those men and women go to the hospital unless they were deathly ill. Other
That's
than
right.
that, they go into the backyards, they get some herbs, they get something and put
Yep.
that thing together. But when they had to go to the hospital, it was serious. And it wasn't until they were in their 60s and 70s and 80s,
Right.
not in your 20s and your 30s.
That's right. Right. We've got children in elementary school that have high blood pressure. They're taking high blood pressure medication.
Are you
In
serious, Dr.
elementary,
Baruch?
absolutely. Absolutely. So we're seeing this thing come all the way back to the womb, that they're coming out of the womb sick. But what they're coming out of the womb is nutritionally deficient. Mom was not eating healthy. So the baby can't get health from a situation that ain't healthy. So, the baby comes out unhealthy. And now we're starting 10 steps back, trying to get caught up, and it doesn't work. There are certain things that have to be produced on that assembly line, in vitro assembly line, that infant goes through. And when the when the mother does not have the nutrition that is necessary to support that process, well, the baby doesn't get it, or at least if they get it, it's deficient. And it's not functioning the way that it should. So we
Well,
look up today and we see that that's the major two things going on with us with regard to our health is we are nutritionally deficient and we are nutritionally toxic. So here it is, we're not getting enough healthy food, and what we're eating is poison. What we're eating is toxifying our body. We've got, we teach classes on it. We work with people. We do consultations to help them see how they can get out of the situation that they're in. But the number one reason why people don't make the choice to eat healthy and do what they know is right is because of how they feel about themselves. So we now know that we have to make a person feel better about themselves, which is why we've created a support group so that we can bring people in who can support one another on this journey. People who have either been where you are or want to be where you are because they're in worse shape. And all of a sudden you create this hospital-like environment. Oh, I know what you can do because I had the same problem you got. All you got to do is eat this way and take these supplements and listen to what doc tells you to do, and you're going to find yourself getting better. It happened for me. And so that's how we now are working to get our customer base healthier. We're doing it in groups as opposed to individually.
yeah, because it's very expensive to get sick in this country.
Oh, yes.
And this is one of the few supposedly civilized nations that don't practice the art of preventive medicine.
That's right. That's right. But my number one customer is the what do you call it? They own their own business. So they're this business entity, and some of them, they are the only thing that is the business. And if they're sick and can't function, they don't make money. So that's a problem. And it's something that you find a lot of my customers are saying, look, I got to eat healthy so that I can stay on the job. Because like the lion who says, if I don't kill, I don't eat. If these people don't go to work, they don't make any money.
Yeah, yeah. That is really, really amazing. And I think that Dr. Baruch, that's one thing. So yes, I'm gonna be there this weekend, but y'all should be there for the nutrition. Do
Yeah.
people call you privately for private consultations or like in groups when you speak like that? Not
All the
just
time.
in the restaurant. Yeah, because people are looking for alternative modalities,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
especially if you take medication that makes you feel worse than before.
Yes.
You would think that seemed like there would be something, but I just noticed within the last 4 or 5 years, even more so, most of the packages now in supermarkets says bioengineered ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bioengineered. And I also noticed in our communities, especially in these stores, at the front of the counter is nothing but candies.
Yes.
Nothing
But
but
Carl, I mean, Lloyd, did you notice that at the back of the store, it's a drugstore?
what do you mean?
They put a pharmacy in the back of every grocery store.
They're in DC?
Every grocery store now has a pharmacy. You got a pharmacy in Target. You
Oh
got a
yes.
pharmacy in Walmart. You got a
Yes.
pharmacy everywhere because they're all capitalizing on dealing these drugs in our community.
Yeah, CVS, all these drugstores here. And
No,
you're
not
right.
just the drugstores. We're talking about in the grocery stores, in the department stores. They now are putting drugstores in the back of them because there's so much money to be made off of selling drugs. And in some instances, it was, I think it was Xanax. Xanax, I had done research on it, and the markup on Xanax was some like 350,000%.
Wow.
That's the kind of money that they're making off of Xanax. And you don't need to make that kind of money, to be profitable. I'm a restaurateur. I'd love to make 50% off of everything that I purchase and be able to sell it and make 50% on top of that. That would be great. These people are making 300, I think it was 369,000% for Xanax. I'm going to get those statistics so I can go back to reading that to people because people don't know this. The drug industry is not in the business of healing anybody. They're in the business of making money. And
Now,
now
what is Xanax? What is that for?
that was for depression. That's anxiety.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here it is. You're anxious. You're depressed, and you're spending all this money. You're ruining your economy. It's just going to make you more depressed.
Some of these drugs to me appear to be made up. Like a couple of years ago, I heard of some drug for restless leg syndrome.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well,
What
what
is
we
that supposed
find
to mean?
that they're making up conditions and making up drugs for those conditions because the deficiencies caused by the diet that we're consuming is causing our body to not function the way that it should, which leads us down the road of having any number of things. Restless leg syndrome. There's a whole slew of them that sometimes they even change the name of an illness so that now they could create a whole new stream of drugs just for that specific thing. Like you've got heartburn, and then you've got GERD, and then you've got indigestion, and you got all these different things that are really describing the same condition, and they're creating a new drug for each one and making money off of all of them. Got you taking all of them because you got all those situations, and it's all the same thing.
I know I'm a mature adult and obviously naive. It's like, really? You would rather make more money than to see the people live a long and healthy, happy life
Brother, you see
over
how
over
much
over
money
the
they made.
dollar bill?
You see how much money was made with this COVID vaccine.
Billions of
That
dollars.
it turned millionaires into multi billionaires. Absolutely. And you're talking about affecting their children's lives for like the next 10 generations because of a decision that was made. And you would think that these institutions are here for our best interest. No, they're here for their best interest.
And I was reading not too long ago, either last week, that now there are cancers of an unusual nature that wasn't there until this experience.
Yep, they call them turbo cancers. They move so rapidly because they've suppressed the immune system with the vaccine. Yeah,
Wow.
it's bad, and all we have is one another. So we have to come back home. We have to come together. We have to learn what you're teaching us. And we have to see how that relates and ties into our whole world around us. And then we have to learn what I'm teaching so that we can see how we're supposed to properly fuel these bodies so that they can last to be 120 years of age. There was a time when Black people got old and died. Now Black people don't do that. They get sick and die. So
Yeah.
we're getting sick in our 30s, sometimes in our 20s, and then we're riding this sickness out, dying in our 40s and 50s. And that's not nature. That's
It's
not
still
how
having
things should
strokes
naturally
too.
be.
Strokes and heart attacks.
Oh,
People
absolutely.
about their 30s and 40s. It was
Yep.
unheard of
Yep.
when we were kids.
Yep. And I have two friends that own funeral parlors, and they talk about how their business is going through the roof. There's so many people dying. And I say, well, what do we need to do? He said, well, I'm kind of torn because on the one hand, I'm saying, y'all are doing something wrong. You're hurting yourselves. But on the other hand, I'm saying, this is him talking, that I've never made this amount of money before in my life.
In other words, it's good for business.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of people dying to see him.
Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna let you go, Dr. Baruch. This is something else, but hold on. Let me. At the bottom of the screen is all the information that you need. He is a naturopathic educator, the owner of eLife Restaurant. It's this Saturday, the 15th and 16th Father's Day weekend at 9033 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And so you register at lifecenterhamptonpark.com. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
That's at the bottom of the screen, lifecenterhamptonpark.com. And the contact number is 301-324 6900. That's 301-324-6900. And if you want to go to the website, it's eliferestaurant.com. That's ELIFE restaurant.com to see what they offer. And I tell you, I bear witness. I was there in March. I can't wait to get back in a couple of days. I'll be there.
Good.
So let me just show you again. This is, and by the way, thank you, because the lecture is going to be on relationships. And so it's not just relationships with our food, but relationships with ourselves and stuff like that. So for those of you in the tri-state area, I think that would be DC, Maryland, and Virginia. That's your tri-state area there, right?
Yeah.
So those of you there, or if you happen to be visiting the area from New York, New Jersey, Philly, whatever the case is, come through. That will be this Saturday, June the 15th, and I'll be there that following Sunday on the 16th. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the mothers, the women, are really the doctors in the kitchen. What about the men, since this is Father's Day coming up? What can the men do?
Well, yeah, I think you're right that the back in the day when you and I were children, I think I'm probably a little older than you, Brother Lloyd. You're still in your 30s. Last time I checked.
I wish.
But what Mom was the doctor. You went in the kitchen. And my grandmother, if I got sick, she went into the cabinet in the kitchen and got some garlic and got some castor oil and got some Karo syrup and got some cod liver oil and got all of this stuff.
Cod liver oil when I was a baby, and I had no choice.
That's right. And we stayed well because they didn't have time to stay home from work. So you had to be well. You had to go to school. So, all of those things that onions, what our grandparents did with some onions, they chop them up and put them in the sock and put them around your neck and put them on your feet, and put it next to the bed, and they would capture all the toxins in the air. So, there are things that we need to learn or relearn that we used to do and get away from the Benadryls and the Robitussin and the NyQuil and all these chemicals that are suppressing the immune system. And I want to let our audience know this, that most of what we're treating in and the chemicals that we take from our cabinets and our homes, we're treating not symptoms of an illness. We're treating the immune system's response to a situation created by our lifestyle. So when you get a fever, we treat the fever, which is the wrong thing to treat. We should be getting rid of the virus that's in the body that has brought the fever on. The body's doing the right thing by having the fever so it can kill the virus. Well, that's what we should be supporting. No, we try to suppress the fever. In other words, we suppress the immune system so it doesn't even get a chance to do the work that it needs to do, which is why so many people are sick, not just for a day or a weekend, but we'd be sick for months and months and months at a time because we're continually suppressing the immune system so it cannot defend us.
Didn't the grandparents in our generation say you feed a fever, starve a cold, or something
That's right.
like that phrase?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It
Yep.
wasn't going to go get no NyQuils. It
Nope.
wasn't going to go get no Benadryl.
That's
That
right.
was the formula.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So we've gotten away from our root. And now we're into this other space that's not working for us. And it's convenient. Just pop a pill. For every ill, you can pop a pill. But those pills don't benefit us because, again, they suppress the immune response to a condition that the body considers, a bad thing.
There's a lot to learn. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days. I'm going to be here again this Saturday and Sunday, Father's Day weekend. Um, for those in the area, you gotta go and see the restaurant. It is very clean. It's well lit. The food is great. I mean, it's just you can tell you put a lot of love into it, Dr. Baruch.
Yes,
You
indeed.
can tell that. And for
Yes,
29
indeed.
years, you must be doing something right. Okay.
There we go.
There
Yes, sir.
is no question. And this is just, he had a couple of shots, but I just took this one so one could see. And he also makes space available for events. In fact, there's an event later on that afternoon, which is why I'm doing mine early in the day between 1 and 4. Later on, there's going to be a big event there. I should stay and join the party, but I know what I'm there for. Anyway, but Dr. Baruch, I want to thank you so much, buddy. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days without question.
Absolutely. And remember, Brother Lord, what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a numerology associated with health. So that's going to be coming. We got to talk about how numbers,
and in my
and
book,
what
I have a
numbers.
section on health. And in fact, that will be my next turn. This one is about relationships. So then I'll talk about health because the health is the only thing you got at the end of the day.
That's right.
You can make $1 million and it costs you about $850,000 in medication to get well. Go figure.
Yeah.
So you just make all that money to just give it back to the pharmaceutical industry. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Dr. Baruch, thank you so much, man. Thank you for joining us. And so I'm gonna be going on to some other things, but please have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'll see you in a couple of days, literally.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye now.
That's it. Bye-bye.
So anyway, thank you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spill a little bit over. I do want to read some people. There was a person I saw that came on at the top of the show. And first of all, let me do this. Now, there's some people who have made donations, so I'm just going to acknowledge those. Oh, and by the way, there was a person that asked me a question. They were at the top. They were born December 22nd. There we are, right here. They said they're born December 22nd. They said this before 7 o'clock. And what was the best day for them to travel this month by plane? Me personally, I always pick a Thursday. Why? Well, in my book in my Numbers in You book that you can pick up at Amazon, I have a thing called numerology and plane crashes because I was a little nervous about flying a while ago, still to a degree. There's what is called commercial air travel. Commercial means with passengers on board. There has never, ever been a plane crash ever on a Thursday. So when I went to Egypt, Thursday, China, Thursday, India, Thursday, this place, Thursday, Hawaii, Thursday. That is the safest day to fly for me, especially if you're worried about traveling. Now, and I think you were saying, okay, what's the best day for you to travel? Technically, your numbers are the 4, 8, and 1. No, excuse me, the 4, 1, and 8, because you are a Capricorn. So normally that means Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays are your best days. However, for traveling by air, and if you're nervous, always select a Thursday. Then when I looked at your personal year, you're in a 6 personal year this year, which is, and 6 is considered kind of like an opposition number to the 4. So when I looked at it, I says, okay, 6, your personal year added to the 6th position month, which is June, would be a 3. So that tells me one of the best times to travel would be to somewhere around the 22nd to the end of the month, if it's going to be this month. Okay. And then travel is indicated for February. That'll be the week of the 8th through the 14th, and the week of the 22nd to the end of the month. So the second week and the third week will be the best time to travel if you can travel in August. As for July, July is that's a you being a 3 or 4. So 4 normally represents restriction. So I would say July, take it easy. And not only that, July is the opposition month or period for all cancers. You know, each sign has a high and a low. Well, the opposition period for all Capricorns, not just you, but all Capricorns, is the month of late June, July. So, and then you'll be in a 4 personal month and a 6 personal year. So I would say should take it easy. So either make it the end of June or that second or that final week in August, and you should be fine. Okay. And have safe travels. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. This is Live Love Lynn. She catches replays. Thank you. Her daughter, my daughter's oldest daughter was born on March the 3rd. And they said they worried about it. Well, first of all, she happens to be in a 5 personal year. What I did was I took in my head December the 3rd and added to the year 2024. That factored out to a 5 personal year your daughter is in. Your daughter's oldest daughter, your granddaughter. So what that means, one of the opposition numbers, because we all have numbers that are friendly to us and we have numbers that oppose us. The opposition number to the number 3 is the number 5, which happens to be the year your granddaughter is in. 5 rules the nerves, 5 rules impulsiveness, 5 rules sometimes things unsteady. All this is to the kind of to the negative side, but it also means somewhere deep down inside she's really hankering for a change and perhaps don't know how. So I would say that based upon that might be the challenge she has. But you know what? Your daughter is born in 1996, so she's a young adult. So there are things. Oh, your oldest daughter. Okay, she said that's her oldest daughter. I got you. So with your oldest daughter, and not only that, but astrologically, the lowest point for all Sagittarians is right now in the sign of Gemini. 6 signs away from all the signs is your opposition period, which is 180 degrees apart. So if you look at Sagittarius, your daughter's sign, and you look at the month we're in right now, so not only is she in a 5 personal year, which governs Mercury, which governs Gemini, we also happen to be in the sign of Gemini itself. So all Sagittarians, no matter who they are. So if you talk to other Sagittarians or other relatives that got Sagittarian relatives, relationships and whatnot, they too will be slightly challenged. Some to a greater, lesser degree, all depending on their birthday, the cycle year they're in. But in the case of your daughter being in a 5 year and with it now being in the period that governs the 5, which is a sign of Gemini, her opposition, that may explain it. So I wish her the best. Okay. And there's only but so much we can do. You know, we as parents, we worry a lot, but sometimes destiny has a part that sometimes we do the best we can as parents. And it can't be said you don't do the best you can. So that's how I look at that. All right. Okay. Fortunate says we're choosing food addictions instead of being addicted to self-love. That is so cool. I like that. Yeah, we need to learn how to love ourselves. That's why, you know, Miss Kimberly, who sponsors my show, and I sponsor her show, so we have an exchange going. And she has this thing on her Wednesday and morning shows. The God in me loves the God in you. That is self-love. So when I say that, I'm not just saying it to be willy-nilly. when I started reading the biography of Reverend Ike or Reverend Eichenkata. He talked about the God in me, which means the God in you. And so it means to learn how to love yourself, because you can't depend on somebody else to love you. And I hadn't thought about it. The way we feel about ourselves is probably the way we eat. And the way we eat is sometimes not too good. So I have to agree with you. Instead, let us be addicted to seeing the God in me loves the God in you. If we're addicted to that, I think we'll do much better, and our eating habits will be better too. Thanks very much for that. So that was good. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, low self-worth. And that is good. Um, and when he came up with some of these words here, it was kind of funny, but it was like true. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these foods never mold or anything. They just dry. Whatever the case is, I don't know what that's about. But anyway, this is Jeff Brown. Thanks so much for the donation. They says he is born on December the 9th, a Sagittarius. So I know this is a problematic period for him. His mother is a Virgo on the 28th of August. His father is the 20th. That's interesting. Your mother and your father are in opposition signs. That's what that means. The opposition sign to Virgo is Pisces. The opposition sign to Pisces is Virgo. Interesting sort of interpretation of your numbers. Well, in your case, your numbers, sir, are the 9, 3, and 6. Those are your numbers. So that means those are your angel numbers. Okay. You know how we talk about we see certain numbers. Well, your birthday, when we're born on that, we're given a set of angelic numbers with angelic days, angelic dates, and months. So the 9, 3, and 6 are your numbers. As for your mom, her numbers are the 1, the 4, and the 5. For your dad, his numbers are the 2, the 7, and the 3. So the only number I see coming from one of your parents is your father. His number is his last number is a 3. Your last number, your secondary number after the 9 is a 3. So that tells me you might look or favor your dad to some degree. And it's so interesting. You're born on the 9th and you donated $9.99, which has a 27, which is a 9. I look at numbers all kind of ways, Jeff. Uh, 4, 6, 8. And in fact, Jeff Brown has 9 letters in the name. I don't know if you've looked at it like that, but these are some of the things, and these are some of the things I'm going to be teaching in when I do the professional for certifications and stuff like that. But those are the numbers, though. And right now, Jeff, if you're feeling a little pressured in your own way, metaphysically, cosmically speaking, astrologically in that sense, this is not the most auspicious time of the year for you, which is the period of late May into June, for all Sagittarians, not just you, all Sagittarians. We all get a turn. No one escapes. It's just having the understanding of how to deal with it. That's what it is. Okay. This person is from Ghana. They're born on March the 29th. What should they expect for the year? Well, in this case, you are in a year that deals with being able to get your house in order. You're in a 4 personal year. What I did was I took March the 29th, added it to 2024. That tells me your personal year. Now, 4 is like the box. A lot of people don't like being confined or boxed or, but look at it as boundaries. But look at it as a point of giving you the time and the wherewithal to build a foundation, to lay the blueprint of how you're going to move forward this year in a more structured, organized way, rather than doing it willy-nilly. It also tells me that women are your blessing and your curse, or either you work around a lot of women or have women supervisors. It all depends. And it also indicates you're very intuitive too. But this year says take it easy, stay on top of your health. In fact, this month of June, since you're in a 4 personal year added to the 6 position month, which is a 1, which means this is a good month for you to get started. What's interesting, July is one of your good months, and you will happen to be in a 2 personal month with match your 29th birthday. So I would say in about another 2.5 weeks into July, things should be a little bit better for you. Definitely, definitely. I wish you all the best too. All righty, let me just go through this. Okay. Okay, I don't know what this is. Oh, the physician's desk reference. I think that's it, Stephen. This is my buddy from Chicago. Him and Carolyn, boy, they got my back. I don't care what nobody says. And I think this is a book I used to read when my sister was in the nursing industry. And I would just be so interested in looking at what these medications were, what they're supposed to do. But then in that PDR book, they would actually list some of the side effects, and almost always it was twice as long the negatives as it was the positives. So it makes you say, wow, why take it? But anyway, um, okay, this is Fortune for Life, of peace and respect for Baba Lloyd and the family. Thank you so much. Tapping in from Fort Worth, Texas. All right, all right. Okay, and I have to agree with Stephen and my beautiful Empress Rel, my moderator on Wednesday. Please hit the like button. All right, do that. I'm beginning to understand. And by the way, next month we'll make 3 years that Live with Lloyd has come to the air, and I must thank Jackie Barrios. She has been kind of like my angel when I sat in her home in Philly 3 years ago, and she just had me sit there and record. And I said, I don't want to do this because I'm so used to being behind a microphone with radio. I could be in my shorts. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to brush my teeth, my hair. I could be looking all kind of ways, but then I got to go in front of camera. Well, it turned out to be a blessing. And for her, I am deeply indebted because she did not have to do that. She didn't have to say, listen, you need to give this a try. And I want to thank Veronica uh, Anderson for Happy Father's Day for all you dads. Let me tell you this, gentlemen, all gentlemen, being a father of children, boys and girls, we play a part in a child's life that you cannot imagine. You think we dads are like really important to the boys. That's true, but I found that the fathers are even more important to the girls side of the equation as well too. And you look at a person or a woman who hasn't had a father around, and it also affects the future relationships that they have. Okay. So what I'm saying is, gentlemen, sometimes there's issues that go on between the partners. Bury the hatchet. Make sure you see your children. And for women sometimes too, who feel that they might want to use a child as a weapon, you're doing yourself a disservice. And you don't have to take my word for it, but the price you will pay later. They say you either pay now or you pay later. I'm trying to tell you, for those of you, if you're, I've had people tell me that the father was dead and it wasn't. And then they eventually find out, and it creates bitterness. So not only did the woman lose the father, but then she loses the child when she finds out the deal. So this, I'm telling you, this culture got us playing games with each other that's very, very detrimental to our family structure. And you can see that. You can see that right now. And I'm telling you, gentlemen, we have a very important role to play in the future of our generations and our families. And so, ladies, trust me, you cannot do it alone. Eventually, you need us. I know we need you. Okay. And so, all of us are not 6 feet tall. All of us are not six figures or six, whatever you're looking for. So, actually, if you look at your fathers, I bet you a lot of them wasn't 6 feet tall and making six figures too, but yet got you through school, got you brothers through school too. Okay. Although the men aren't caught up in the six figures and whatnot, we're wired differently, but we're supposed to be wired differently. That's why we have testosterone and y'all have estrogen. There is a reason for this. Now they got us, me wanting to be you and you wanting to be me. And that is not how the source or God has made it at all. So this is what I'm saying for Father's Day. This is very important, gentlemen. Get with your children. You make an impact on their lives. That's what you do. And you ladies, especially, no matter what happens, I know things happen in this real world. Things are kind of crazy now, but you let your babies' fathers get with your children. They will set a tone like never before. That's all. I mean, I'm sure some of y'all got a disagreement with me. I understand that. I can relate to that. But I read too many people. I'm telling you, one of the things of doing this for decades of reading clients is the effect that there is not a father in the home or togetherness of a family structure. And if the father's not home, be civil. The guys be civil with the woman. Okay, we all get burned. We all go through things like that. But all I'm saying is this is just okay. That's all I'm saying, folks. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. But That's how I feel. So we men have a very important role to play in the lives of our children, and especially our girls. You know, I wanted boys, which I got three, so I figured I'd yoke them. You know what I'm saying? Then I had girls, and boy, did that change the equation. My goodness. This is Robin Jones for Ernest McCullen, December the 10th, a Sagittarius. So I know this person too is going through some drama. They're going through, in fact, they're in a 9 personal month for June. In other words, I mentally says, okay, December the 1st, added to 2024. That's how you get your personal year. That's a 3. So 3 added to the third sixth position month, which is June. 3 plus 6 is 9. They're in a 9 month. Now, their numbers are the 1, 4, and 3. 9 means some kind of ending or termination. But because they happen to be in an oppositional period right now, which is a sign of Gemini for all Sagittarians, that means, yes, they may be ending something, but they got to be careful, especially since their zodiac sign is at the lowest point in the chart, to not get caught up in arguments and confrontations and be speeding and whatnot. You know, number ones like to get right to where they're going. That's why they're number ones. They're the swiftest, the first, the fastest. So this particular month says, please be a little careful, especially in the fourth week, the last week of the 22nd to the end of the month. Just be a little careful. But your numbers, Ernest, are always the 1, 4, and 3. All righty. And thanks, Maureen. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I take that in the spirit for which it is given. And also, one of my favorite followers, too. Happy Father's Day to all the kings. Yay, Ashe, Ashe. Okay. Um, this is nice. This is very nice. I'm not going to keep people long. I just want to make sure that people who made donations, that I acknowledge them. And, and thank you very much for entertaining my guests. And I hope you found that helpful, that a lot of the secrets of good health is in the diet. And that is one of the things they don't talk about is the nutrition. Nutrition is very important. Okay, let's see. See, this is what I'm talking about. This young lady says, I have 2 cousins diagnosed with breast 4 stage cancer, and they are in their early 30s and 40s. See, this used to be designated when you was around 60 or 70 in your 80s. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you got to really just respect your health. And sugar, man, you know, it's so interesting. Salt and sugar look just alike, and yet they're both detrimental. So that should tell you something. Okay. And Fortunate for Life, thanks out of Texas. Okay, let me see. And Earthopius, thank you very, very much. Um, and before I get to, yes, I read you. Okay, I read this. Okay, I gotta tell you about next week. Next week, Monday especially, I'm gonna have someone. Actually, there are 2 guests that I've never had before. Um, and in terms of the age bracket. Okay, okay. Now, this is interesting. Alex Swindle says Dr. Baruch's gray hair is a clear sign of excess oxidation. Considering checking your copper level. Much love. I'm out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully, he will see that. I didn't see that while we was on, but I'll pass that on to him. I think he's going to look at the reruns of it, but that's good. Listen, no one's perfect. We all need it. We all need it. Okay, that's how it goes. We all need it. Okay, some help. This young lady is going to be a guest on my show in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to tell you about her. She's going to tell you about it herself. She is fantastic. Um, but let me wind down by saying a couple of things here. First of all, uh, this Saturday and Sunday Father's Day weekend, I am going to be in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Um, you see me there. I'll be there from 1 to 4 p.m. Saturday, and I'll be back Sunday. But it's at 9033 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. That's this Saturday, and I'll be a host of Dr. Baruch. And by the way, he has superb the vittles be smoking. I'm telling you, okay. And I do want to thank Manifest on Purpose for sponsoring the show. Also, Nicholas, I'm going to have her on somewhere probably around about August to have her on to talk about the things she does. And I also want to thank Riza Islam too for his. I want to thank Riza Islam for his intellectualpowers.net. When you open the bottle, you will tell this it's a smell that's totally different, and it's very very interesting. Some of the effects of it too. When you order, just put in the code numbers and you will be getting a 10% discount. Okay, that's very, very important. And as I always like to say, his things contains it's free of heavy metals and glutens and wheat and dairy and soy and yeast and sugar, artificial flavors. You'll smell why too. Sweeteners, fillers, preservatives, added colors, and or animal byproducts such as gelatin, cholesterol. I hope I'm saying that cholesterol. I hope I'm saying it right. Collagen. And the best one I like is radiation free. And my buddy also, King Simon, he's going to be on his children's book is going through the process. Once it is there, be ready. But he's going to have a 2-day weekend special, October the 12th, honoring the birthday of Dick Gregory, and the 13th, which is a salute to the ancient culture of the African American experience. And the best is for last, which is cardology workshops with my two favorite ladies, a Libra and a Taurus, ruled by Tauruses, Nina Diamond and Jazz Aphrodite. So this is it. They are, and please go to their websites. If you see at the bottom center of the flyer are their respective emails to reach out to them to schedule your slot for the workshops. They fill up fast, trust me. But these are the two best of the best, okay? And now, Monday, I'm having these young people. In the back is Camilla, who is the oldest, and she's written a book, believe it or not. And this is the book she wrote when she was 9 years old. I have a copy of my book that she autographed to me, okay? I'm having her on this coming Monday to see what the young people have to say. And her brother, Kamar, he is something else. He's the youngest, but she's a Taurus, May the 11th, and he is born, I think, March 17th. But they're earth and water signs. But I was so impressed with them. I asked their father, who, by the way, is an author, and he'll be on over the summer about being, I guess, on the show. So Camilla will talk about her book that she wrote. And also she wrote a second one too, which is Blossom Tales, the story of menstrual magic, which is interesting, talking about how young girls come of age in this blossoming phase of life. And so she's going to be talking about that. But they are my guests on Monday. All right. So I can't wait to have them on. Wait till you hear the brother, the young, the young brother, something else. Okay. The sister is deep. The little lady is like, man, I'm telling you. And when you meet their father, you'll understand what I'm saying. The role of having a father in the lives of children. I cannot emphasize the importance of the role we play, gentlemen. Okay. And the way they talked and whatnot. And in fact, it's the father that inspired Camilla to start writing when she was 7 years old. And by 9 years old, she wrote the book. Right there. Okay. Such is the role of fathers in the life. Mothers are very important. That's understood. But there can be no substitute for not having a father. So with that said, let me tell you my newsletter is absolutely free. We do not sell your email to anybody. I don't play that. I respect the privacy. If I got something going on, like for example, you will find that I'm promoting the fact that I'm doing my workshop to teach people how to do this as a career. And I'm very serious about this too. The response has been tremendous. I'm I want people. I don't want a whole lot of people because I want to give you all my time. But so I think this week and no later than next week, I'm going to stop promoting this at all together. Okay. And I just got a call from the little lady that I'm supposed to see. So anyway, do this. And if you want to, for all last minute inquiries, just go to a star8llc@gmail.com, a star8llc@gmail.com, and tell us you're interested in the course. You will receive a questionnaire just to qualify to see how serious you are, because I ain't giving up nothing but information. The rest you're going to have to do yourself. So I'm not going to give you a fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish so you can eat as much seafood as long as you want to. All righty. But getting back to the free newsletter, you can read it. Also, you have an option now. Miss Kimberly and I coordinate each and every month. This is our 6th month of doing the forecast, and you'll see that this is a picture of I on her YouTube channel. And as you see at the bottom of the screen will be the timestamp, so you can go right to your sign, or you can go, if you're a Leo, you can go to your, if that's your ascendant, you want to read that. Some people feel their sun sign is more important, their ascendant is more important, their moon is more important. So I guess it all depends on the perspective, but read all three. If you know all three of your signs, then read all three, cousins, family members, and stuff like that. But you can go to Kimberly, Kimbaley, Kimbaley.com. All righty. And so again, this is the written version, and then you will have the spoken version. Two different forms. I enjoy it myself. The way I talk is one thing, the way I write is a whole nother thing. All right. And so again, just go here for those of you who are interested, and you got to be serious. And by the way, there's been much improvements, especially on the iPhone users downloading the app. But so whether you're Android user or Apple user, download the app, and you can go to a star8.com. So if you have any problems downloading from those platforms, go to a star8.com right here at the top, and you can download it from my website at star8.com. Should you have any problems, which I get occasionally, send it to a star8llc@gmail.com, because what I do is I send this right away to the developers and they get right back to the persons. So I want to thank everybody very much. And by the way, for those of you who like to listen to podcasts, I have a Numbers in You podcast. For those that like the audiobook, I have that too. And for those of you who like TikTok, you can follow me on the TikTok under Numbers in You. And also you can sign up for the course there. That's for the beginners. This is not for certification. This is just to kind of get your feet wet, so to speak. All right, folks, that's it. Have a very nice day, a very nice weekend. I look forward to having Camilla and Kamar on this Monday. That's going to be fun because I love kids. Okay, and don't forget, we were all kids too. And then something happens where we change. So if we can get the kids early, they become adults. And by the way, for those of you, if you still have living parents, try to question them. What kind of child were you? That will normally give you a clue as to the adult you became. All right. Because a lot of the things we do now, our choices in professions, our choices in relationships, have a lot to do with things that happened back in our childhood. So instead of not talking to your folks, communicating, get to know them to find out what kind of kid were you, good, bad, or indifferent. So you can say, okay, now I understand. All right. You would be surprised. These are ancestral things that we've lost. And it's unfortunate. This is why we be wandering around. And this is why relationships don't last a minute. Okay. So we better stay connected. Anyway, enough of that. I enjoyed running my mouth. Anyway, y'all all have a nice day. Take care. And thank you so much.